الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الفلاح. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. صدق الله العظيم. My dear brothers and sisters, it is with heavy hearts and great sadness that we mourn the man that was lost this past week in the murder-suicide in Texas. This was a very tragic event. And mental health and mental illness, my brothers, is a serious issue. And as we can see from this incident, it is not something that we as Muslims are immune to. And it's something that we do have to talk about. And so when people come to us with these kinds of issues, complaining of depression, complaining of sadness, we should not shame them. We should not call them lazy. We should not hurt them with our words or our actions, but instead we should give them hope and compassion and mercy as they deserve, as the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as our friends and family members. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on that family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Forgive them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them forgiveness for what transpired. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on the community in the Dallas area. Finally, we had a program to address this tragedy and this incident. And it was about mental health and suicide prevention. And we had mental health professionals to discuss this program. And just in our community, over nearly 100 people were attending that program, from the youth and the adults. And so it shows you that this is really a topic that's on people's minds. This is something that we need to address and something that we need to talk about. And so from our Wednesday event, I just want to talk a little bit in the first part of this khutbah about some of the questions that and what the answers were. So one of the main things that came up was from our young people, who complained that many of their parents do not understand mental health. Many of their parents do not understand the concept of mental health. So how can we do better to educate? And I would say it's not on any one group, elders or the youth, who don't understand. There's plenty of people who don't understand. But it's important that we take the position that we should take is one of education and not one of negativity and why don't you understand? Instead, helping to educate on those issues. And that if we ourselves cannot help to educate others, to bring in those who can. So for the youth, bringing in an adult who does understand, talk to your family members to help them understand better about the actual situation. Just to realize that most of the time parents, they grew up in a different they have different definitions for what sadness and depression and these kinds of things are. They have different ways of responding to them. So it's important for youth to empathize with their parents, and also for the parents and the elders to empathize with the youth when it comes to these scenarios. Many parents have asked, many parents have, of course, been shocked by this incident. That what could we do to prevent this kind of situation? What could we do? What is our role when it comes to this? The most important answer to that question, my brothers and sisters, is to talk openly in our families about these kinds of things. What do you think about what happened? Did you hear about this that happened? Sometimes we think by talking about it, then it becomes real. But it is real whether we talk about it or not. And putting our heads in the sand is not the way to actually resolve situations. Instead, we should talk only, and that is what the Quran teaches us. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu qulu qawlan sadida. That is the way the Prophet ﷺ used to act. He would address directly when there was fitna, when there was challenges between the communities. The fact that he brought these two groups, Aus and Khazraj, who hated each other before Prophet's arrival, these groups, they hated each other. The fact that he was able to bring them together and to unite them is a huge deal. And he wasn't able to do that by hiding from the issues. He was able to do that by addressing the issues head on. By addressing head on. So talking about things openly. You know, my is a mental health professional. This is one of the things she asks her patients. Have you had suicidal thoughts? And some people think, well, if I ask someone this, that, it's going to put the idea in their head. Well, actually, what you are doing is you are giving them permission to talk about what their thoughts are. You are giving them permission to talk about their feelings. And if you're not sure how to do it, then you can ask someone who knows how to do that. And then the response is even important. How do you respond? If someone says, yes, I have, how do you respond? You should respond with love, with mercy, with compassion. compassion, not shaming. Not with, how can you think this? Look at what Allah, don't resort to shame. Look at what Allah has given you, and don't resort to shaming. How can this happen? How can this be? Instead, try to put yourself in their shoes, what they must be going through. Try to empathize, to say, I feel what you're going through, and don't ignore the problem. A lot of times we say, well, I have work to do, maybe we can talk about this weekend. Maybe we can talk. Weekend comes and goes and we still haven't talked about it. Ignoring the problem, addressing it is the most important thing, whether it is you who addresses it or someone who you trust to address it. That's very important, my brothers and sisters. We cannot wait until the issue it's become such a big issue. Think about any ailment that we have. If we have a heart problem, we go to the heart doctor as soon as we find out it's a problem. If we wait too long, then it gets to the point where it becomes too late. And a lot of times when it comes to mental health, in my talks with Muslim mental health professionals, our community tends to wait too long. Our community needs to be quicker in responding to these kinds of situations amongst our friends, amongst our family. So we have to approach things with the empathy of the Prophet ﷺ, with the love and the mercy that he showed. When he talked to people, how did he talk to them? When someone was talking to him, when he was talking to somebody, they would feel as if they were the most important person in the room. When our family members talk to us, they should feel that way. We use those skills at work all the time. When boss is talking to us, we're making attention. So that same skill, we've shown that we can do it in a professional setting. Can we do it at home with those who love us more than anything? Can we do it with those that are closest to us? Can we use those same skills that we have over there? Right? The same genius we use in our professional lives, can we bring it home with us and use that genius there? Another question that came up is, one of the questions was the purpose of life. This was a big question because the boy who talked about this, he talked about happiness being the purpose and so on. And so I'd like to ask that in a separate khutbah. I think there's a whole khutbah that needs to be talked about in terms of what is Islam's response to that. The short of it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to worship Him. That worship Islam is much more than what we think it is. It is much more than there's much more that meets the eye. And so I'll address that in a later khutbah more deeply. And finally, the big question was, what is the role of Iman? What is the role of belief when it comes to our mental health? My brothers and sisters, just like any physical ailment, if I have an issue, I make dua for myself, I make dua for my family members, and I also go to the professional who's an expert in that field. I don't try to treat it myself, my physical ailment. If I have a heart problem, if I have diabetes, if I have high blood, whatever those issues are, I'll try to treat them myself. I go to the professional, don't I? Similarly, when it comes to our mental health, we seek out those professionals. A lot of people, they say, can I go to the imam? Yes, you can go to the imam. You can go to the imam. The imam can only serve a first responder type of role, to assess the situation and give faith-based advice. But the imam is not trained. When I went to Islamic University, I was not trained in mental health. I had to take certificates afterward. I had to take classes afterward. This is not something in which imams are trained in mental health professional services. Imams are trained in the Quran and the Sunnah, yes. But just like if we have a heart issue, we go to a heart doctor. We have a mental health issue, we go to that doctor. Of course, Iman plays a huge role in our mental health. Belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, belief in the akhirah, belief in having hope in the future. Those are all things that help us with our mental health. And so Iman does play a crucial role, but it is not the only thing. It is not the only thing. And we see this in the physical and mental health are connected. If we look at Yaqub alayhi salam, the great son of Ishaq and Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he feels sadness over the loss of his son Yusuf, over the betrayal in the lives of his other children, he loses his eyesight. And once he smells the whiff of Yusuf, once again his eyesight returns. And that is a connection between the physical and the mental. As a connection that exists, and it's something the Quran discusses. And so who can we go to for help if we feel we are not able to handle these issues? If we feel that once we have opened it and we have discussed it, we feel like it is beyond our capacity to deal with, and there you can go to a therapist. You can go to a mental health therapist. You can go to your primary care physician. You can go to your doctor and tell them. A lot of them have questionnaires on the intake. They have questionnaires that help you out. And they can further if you need the help of a psychiatrist. If there's urgent issues, self-harm or thoughts of self-harm, you can go to the hospital emergency room, my brothers and sisters. You can go to the emergency room. My wife, she's a psychiatrist. She works in a lot of times in those situations and help people who have come to the emergency room. And so consider that, my brothers and sisters. We also have Sheikh Yasser. He does a program every Tuesday called Mindful Tuesdays, and he talks about these kinds of issues. So attending programs and educating ourselves is incredibly important. Attending the programs like the one that we had on Wednesday and making sure that your voice is heard. We have the questions and we have the Q&A. So making sure that you are heard. And making sure that we educate ourselves on these situations. He also does individual sessions, one-on-one, so if you need additional help because he's trained in that, and he can help you with as well. So speaking of faith, moving on to the urgent issue at hand, which is that Ramadan, sisters, is just a few days away. Allahumma ballighna Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to obtain the blessings of Ramadan that are forthcoming. Last Ramadan, it was a challenge. It was different from Ramadan before it. The masajid were closed. We were not sure how to deal with the pandemic. We didn't know. We didn't have any knowledge. The masajid were closed. There was no salat. There was no tarawih going on in the same way. And so it was very different and it was challenging. And so this Ramadan is a new normal for us. And it's an opportunity to reconnect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An opportunity to increase our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after a long year. So let's go back, refresh, and remind ourselves of the two purposes of Ramadan. Let's just go back to the basics. The two purposes of Ramadan, what are they? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, when He talks about Ramadan, He says that this Ramadan was prescribed لَكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. And then later He says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So those become the Quranic purposes to Ramadan. Number one is for us to be more mindful, have more taqwa, and be more mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Taqwa is not fear, my brothers and sisters. Fear. Taqwa is be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, ittaqillaha haythu ma kunta. That be mindful of Allah wherever you are. Realize that He is there. Realize that He is there. Not just that He is watching. Not just that He is watching, but that He is there. Be mindful of Allah. When you feel yourself limited, when you feel yourself overburdened, realize that Allah is there behind you. Allah is there to support you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there to send His angels to help you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do good. Every step you take towards Allah, Allah will take many steps towards you. If you go to Allah walking, He will come running to you. That is ittaqillaha haythu ma kunta. be mindful of Allah wherever you are. وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُوهَا. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, and then he said, follow bad deed with a good one, which will erase it, which will take over it and erase it. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسَ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. So this is a definition of taqwa, and then treat people with good character. So taqwa is partly being mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, making sure that when we do something wrong, which is inevitable, then we follow it up with something good. And also that we treat with character. That becomes one of the messages of taqwa. That becomes of the parts of taqwa, that taqwa is not something I do for myself and by myself, but it includes how I treat others. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, there are many of those who fast and all they get out of the fast is hunger and thirst. When in fact the fast is hunger and thirst. This is what we should remind ourselves as we come into this month, my brothers and sisters. So the first purpose of Ramadan is for us to be more mindful. So we feel the hunger. We should remind ourselves that we're doing this for Allah. We feel the hunger, and it reminds ourselves of our state, our spiritual state in this month. He divided those who fast into 3 levels. A lot of times we think black or white. Either you are fasting or you're not. And we're worried about what breaks the fast and what keeps the fast. But he actually said there's 3 levels to fasting. That you can be at any one of these 3 levels. Imagine a pyramid, where majority are at the bottom of the pyramid, and there's some who make it at the top of the pyramid. Imagine that type of structure. And so the first bottom level is those who do the minimum fast. And it counts as a fast, that they are abstaining from hunger and thirst, abstaining from food and water and physical relations. That is the minimum fast, the bottom level. The intermediate level, he says, are those who complete the minimum level, and in addition, they also control their tongue with the words that they say to others. They control their actions, the things that they do. They control where they go, their hands, their feet, their mouth, their ears, their eyes. They discipline. And that is a good level to be on. And then he said, are those who discipline the heart, he says. That is a circumstance. That is a rare thing to find. That not only do they discipline themselves for the minimum of fasting, they discipline their actions, but also they discipline their heart. And as Muslims, we know that we are not held accountable for what is in our hearts, for our thoughts. We are not held accountable for that. But we are rewarded for good thoughts. We are rewarded and we are appreciated for good thoughts and positive thoughts and for good hearts and pure hearts. We are rewarded, but we are not punished for doing the opposite. And so those who can discipline their heart, they are at that top level. And that means that pleasing to them is what is pleasing to Allah, and that they hate what Allah hates, and they dislike what Allah does, and that is in their heart. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to make most of this Ramadan and make the most of our fasts. Ameen. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala rasulillah. And then the second purpose of Ramadan. So the first one is taqwa, and to be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only maintaining our fast, but in our actions and in our hearts. And then the second purpose is to be grateful. To be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Grateful that He has given the blessing of Ramadan, that He has given us. My teachers used to tell me that Ramadan is a madrasa, it is a boot camp. It is preparation for the rest of the year. that yes, we do more in Ramadan, and we are our iman increases in Ramadan, and we challenge ourselves more in Ramadan. And that is one of the miracles, by the way, of Ramadan. The fact that we do more during Ramadan is directly connected to the fact that the shayateen are chained up. The fact that connection to the masjid, the connection to Islam, everything increases. It begins and decreases after Ramadan. People complain that these are Ramadan Muslims. But in actuality, that is one of the miracles. That is one of the signs of Ramadan. That the shayateen really are chained up. That it really is easier. Our open doors to hell are closed. That is one of the great blessings of Ramadan, that we have this opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And so how can we make the most of it? And how can we be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that opportunity? And then how can we prepare us for the rest of the year? Because, brothers and sisters, if we can stay away from the halal, from the food that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made permissible for us for 14, 15 hours, then inshallah we can do that and stay away from the rest of the year as well. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us more mindful of Him and have more taqwa coming into this Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to be more grateful during this Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to complete our fast, that He helps us to not only achieve that minimum level of fasting, but second and even the top level of fasting. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to train us in this Ramadan for the rest. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us to obtain paradise from this Ramadan, and to obtain paradise for our parents who have passed, and for our parents who are alive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them blessings from our worship during this month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to find Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, this Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to make the most of that worship that we can find on Laylatul Qadr, the night that is better than 1,000 months. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He fulfills the needs of those that are in, that He cures the sick, that He forgives and has mercy on those who have passed, that He gives patience to their families. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He accepts our good deeds, forgives our shortcomings and our sins. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم ولذكر الله تعالى أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
So, straighten your rows, fill in the gaps, stand in front of the blue line. There will be some important Ramadan announcements after the Salah. Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لإيلاف قريش إيلاف الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي وآمنهم من خوف. الله الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم.
We have a number of announcements for Ramadan. You can stay and a little bit. This is going to help you, inshallah, to plan. First of all, Ramadan Kareem, inshallah, in advance. The first day of Ramadan will be on Tuesday, inshallah, April 13th. And for the first night of Taraweeh will be on Monday night. For Qari Aslam will be lead the prayers. Some of the key things I want us to remember is that, inshallah, we have 2 Taraweeh prayers, each with 200 people. Each prayer will have Isha, Taraweeh, and Witr. So for both there will be 2 prayers. So you can come here for Isha, inshallah. You must register using Smart Jamal, which is the app that you come here. Children 12 are not allowed for Taraweeh because we don't have any babysitting arrangements, and we want to allow for us with limited spacing to be able to accommodate. We will have strict compliance to COVID, such as registration, contact tracing, and whatnot. Both Taraweeh prayers will be live, both on MAP's Facebook and YouTube. Few more Taraweeh registration. We can register one time, one day. You can register for a whole month. We will open registration one day before. So for Monday night prayer, we will on Sunday. an early registration and a late registration. If you have on the early registration just one day before, we ask that it's an honor system that you do a late registration for the next day. The late registration will be 10 o'clock on the day of, only because we want to make sure that we give equitable opportunity for more people to come and pray in the masjid during the month of Ramadan. Not for some reason, if you are unable to come, as soon as you find out you're unable to attend, please cancel the reservation. Last thing we want is empty spots where people want to come and you hold the spot. We do need volunteers for that, and therefore please visit our website for sign up. Gift drive through tomorrow and Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. Registration is required for that. There will be iftar drive-through every day, but no food is allowed inside the masjid. We will be doing the Ramadan food drive on 4/12. To support, you can go to our site. We will have our virtual fundraiser next Saturday, 4 p.m. The theme would be resiliency rooted in faith. Please mark your calendar. This is the time that you come to support your masjid. On Facebook, YouTube, as usual, we have Sheikh John's Tafsir on Sunday, Brother Allah's program on Friday. For all our programs, you can visit our website. Brother Abdurrahman, our controller, brother in Kenya a few days ago due to COVID. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Make dua for maghfirah. Support the Al-Ihsan Girls Orphanage, a Bangladesh fundraiser live on 410. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.